I've hit a new low point, which, it sounds like a bad thing, but it doesn't feel like one. It's weird. And by the way, before I get into this, just want to mention, um, normally when I make videos, it's not like I'm pretending, it's just automatically, I've trained myself through public speaking and giving speeches and everything. There's just kind of like this version of me that kind of like turns on when I start performing, whether it's, recording a video or on stage or doing a live, whatever it is. It's like, it's still me. It's just kind of like a higher energy version of me, which is both good in a way because, performance wise, it makes it more entertaining. But I feel like the downside of that is that it kind of gives a false impression because, you know, it's hard what I'm going through. Sometimes it's harder than others, sometimes it's easier, but it's like it's difficult, and sometimes I feel that, like, my ability, the way that I've, subconsciously trained myself to just kind of, like enter this performance mode whenever I'm, sharing something, kind of gives a false impression because it's like you always see me at my best. If I don't have the energy to record a video, you won't see that because I won't record the video. And I feel like sometimes, like, maybe that's why some people are like, oh, he's faking and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't care. I don't have the energy for this, but I don't know. I thought it was worth mentioning. But anyway, back to the story at hand. This hand, apparently. Wow, I still have the strength to make jokes. Really boring and unfunny ones, but still. So anyway, I just came back from doing groceries, and I'm glad every time I go out, especially during the winter, because I can only go out when it's not too cold, and today is one of those days where it's relatively warm. And just being outside, doing physical exercise, getting some fresh air always does my body a lot of good. In the moment, it's very difficult, especially now. Like, my body's so weak, I had to take like so many breaks during that walk. I couldn't buy that much food because I knew the weight, like I couldn't handle it. So it's like, it's not like it's fun doing it, but it's definitely good for my body. That's why I try to, do my own groceries and maximize doing hard stuff as much as I can, because I know that it's like, I've grown so weak, I can't afford to grow even weaker. And my opportunities to, do something that will help me grow stronger physically is limited because of the fact that it's winter and I can't really tolerate cold that well. So anyway, all that to say, I went grocery shopping, and on the way back took a bunch of breaks. Like, every time there was a bench, like, I would sit down, take a break of at least a couple minutes. And at one point I was sitting on a bench catching my breath, and I realized, oh shit, it's gotten to the point where I do not have the strength, the physical and mental energy required to focus on anything beyond one day. So I've gotten to the point where all I can do is just focus on making it through today. That's it. And when I'm doing something more intense, such as walking, which, yes, I'm aware sounds kind of pathetic because walking is really not that intense, but for me in my current situation, it is. So, in this situation where it's more physically intense, it stops, like, it shrinks even more from being like, oh, let's just focus on the day, to let's just focus on what is that next milestone. Okay, what is that next point, that next bench, that next place where I can sit down and catch my breath and regain my strength? It's gotten to that. Not to say, like, oh, woe is me, life sucks. And, the reason why I said, like, yeah, okay, technically this is a new low point but it doesn't feel like it because there's a certain benefit that comes from this. Not having the mental and physical strength to focus or worry or think or hope or pray or anything beyond today really frees me to just be in the moment. And yeah, sometimes those moments suck. Throughout the day, there's a lot of moments that suck, but it removes all that, like, existential crisis that a lot of people experience when going through something this intense. And that effect is amplified whenever whenever I do something more intense, like going for a walk or carrying groceries. And it just really shrinks to, like, all right, the next minute, let me just make it through the next minute to that spot where I get to sit down and I get to rest and I get to recover. And then my strength slowly starts to return, and I'm like, all right, I can make it to that next point. I mentioned that to my friend, and he reminded me of that story of, two guys who were climbing a mountain, and I don't remember the exact details of the story. It's been a long time since I read the book. But basically, like, they get hurt, and, one of them has to literally crawl back to get help. And in order to survive that, he's like, all right, let's just make it to that next point. He, like, chooses a point somewhere in the distance, and he's like, all right, I just need to make it to that point. And then he makes it there, and he's like, okay, what's the next point? Okay, it's over there. Let me just make it there. And that's the thing. It's like when you get to a point where you're just so physically and mentally exhausted and destroyed, that's all you have the strength to do. And yeah, I guess I got to that point. And part of me is like, wow, that's sad. But it doesn't feel like a bad thing. Like, I know no matter what, at the end of the day, like, I'm gonna do the best that I can. The outcome is not determined by me, it's up to God. So, what's the point of thinking? Like, I'm not really the type to worry that much. Never really have been. That's kind of more my wife's department. But yeah, I think there's, like, a benefit, an upside to this new low point, which is just, hey, let's not really think about anything. Let's just make it through today, make it through the hour, make it through the next minute, make it through, like, okay, what's my goal? Okay, I need to go to the kitchen to, I don't know, get an orange, whatever. Like, whatever that next goal is, it's like, all right, let's just do that. That's it. I don't need to think about anything else or plan for anything else or worry about anything else. This is what it's come down to. So anyway, probably time to insert some witty joke or, I don't know, witty comment or something here to end the video, but nothing comes to mind. So here's a pen, and I'll see you next time. And I missed the button.